Cowabunga dudes and dudettes, and welcome to another episode of...
He better say yes.
It's just a regular show.
Check it out.
I'm trying to record here.
Oh, I'm sorry for infringing upon your creative process. Air quotes.
Oh, boy, you gonna pee your pants when you see the sponsorship we got for this week's show.
You got a sponsor for this week's show?
Yes, we got a sponsorship for this week's show. That's what we were trying to say before you rudely interrupted, you lazy sack.
What'd you call me? What? Why are you here? Simon, I thought you hated this dude.
Well, I didn't say I didn't.
Yeah, I know what you're thinking of the guy. He's rude and he's ugly, but he have his moments. Come on, just give him a chance.
Okay, I see how this is gonna be. I'm here because I play a role in this sponsorship. Or are you too good for the money that I bring in? Because if you are, I can walk right out the door right now, my friend. And when I do, the money goes with me.
Take it easy, George Costanza. Okay.
Hey, we cool, dog.
What's this? Just tell me what you got.
No, hey, don't take that tone with me, okay, babe? All right, listen. I'm about to drip feed you the drip here. Look, there's this concert and they's giving, okay? Am I right?
No caps.
Yeah, that's right. No caps. Caps lock off. Right, okay? Look, they's giving out the money, and Boston East Playground going to be one of the top acts. You about to get dunked on, G, okay? Hear what I'm saying, Bakecakes?
No. What the crap did you just say? What are you talking about?
We're talking about a concert, boy. We're talking about Marshall East Playground, Sirloin and the Barbecue Gang, Spice and the Spice Boys.
Yeah, that's the crew that got the swag from me. I drip feed them the drip, know what I'm saying, G? It's some kind of mid, but it's a W. They're buff, bakecakes. Know what I'm saying? Dab me up here. Take that Riz and take down some notes. The Rizzler has spoken.
The what? I still don't understand what you're trying to tell me.
Okay, look. Don't even try to comprehend it. You're apparently too stupid. And you don't know the lingo. That's okay. You still deserve to be on this show. Okay? All you need to know is that there's a concert going on, okay? And at this concert, they're going to be charging for these little things they call tickets, okay? You ever heard of those? I hope so. And for these tickets, they're going to be charging money. You know what money is? Oh, yes, good. I'm so glad. You know how the currency works in the United States of America. And they're also going to be charging for concession stands. So that people going to be sitting around eating their wieners and drinking their Dr. Peppers, and they're going to be paying us money for it. And all you need to know is that my band, Crushing Melon's, going to be headlining, and that he's not the Rizzler, I'm the Rizzler, and I'm also the Booty Gummy Line guy, yeah! What? Oh, that is dab. That is so dab.
Cap.
Yeah, that is cap. Cap gun? He got the cap gun, G, because he cap and crunch. Call him cap and crunch, because he's capping off the cap.
There's giving, yeah.
Dog water style.
Yeah, that's
G.
giving.
Now, listen here. Take your Riz and write down these notes that I'm about to spit out. With the getting dunked on, it's going to be a W, G.
Why are you talking like this? I don't understand the words you're saying.
Well, that's how all the cool kids talk now. Stigma.
Yeah, bet. Spigma. Law, Lamau. Spit out your awful waffle bakecakes. Okay, listen up, because I'm about to spit my game here. You don't be salty now, you NPC. Get ghosted. It's lit. I'm on fleek, go. Okay, about to chew you the bougie. Okay. This is extra. Don't be salty now. Gonna slay all day. You shook to the core. Then no cap. There's the cap. No cap. No cap.
I don't know, the drink cup has a lid.
On fleek, okay? Now, at that Riz that we about to do, Marshall East Playground they're gonna be the goats. They're gonna be headlining, and going on for them gonna be Spicy Spice and the Spice Boys. No cap. Shook to the core. Now that Crushing Melons, ghosted, no lit, no. Mood, they chill. No, not chill. No, they NPC, okay? Know what I'm saying?
No. Could you please tell me in English?
Look, I handle this, Simon, don't worry. He's one of them bobsled toboggan guys, 'cause he sure ain't no sleigh. Know what I'm saying? Waffle. Low, mow. Low. Anyway, other guy, listen. That's how all the cool Sigma males speak today. We just using all the words that they use the way they use them in sentences. Know what I'm saying, G?
No. I don't think they know what they're saying either.
Look, surely a 12-year-old knows how to speak proper grammar.
Well, would you put it that way? Maybe I should just stop talking like this. Anyway, look, there's going to be a concert, okay? 612 Wolf, I'm not so good with numbers. So we're down on Wolf Avenue at a warehouse. Keep it on the low down, though, because there ain't much room for parking, okay? But we're going to have us a concert, and there's going to be all sorts of acts there, and Mosley's Playground's headlining, not the Crushing Melons, because they kind of suck.
You wish you sucked as hard as we do, okay? Now look, during the concert, we're going to be running previews for our brand new arcade games coming out over at Crushing Melons.
So, come again. You got video games?
Yeah, we do. We got House of the Bread. We got the spin-off, Typing of the Bread. And then we got the pinball version, Pinball of the Bread.
Hey, wait, I think I've played that one before. Ain't that the shooting game where it's like, they're all like, please be okay, G, and it's really bad voice acting, and it's like you can't tell whether they're talking about the character G or if they're talking to me like, hey, you number one in the hood, G. That game?
No, it's the one where when you save the scientists, they'll give you the extra lives. Because that's how it works. That's the rules of the game. And there's one part where you blow up a bookcase, and there's a scientist come out, and you're like, hey, you gonna give me an extra life, boy? And they're like, no, I ain't giving you an extra life. You blew up all the whole place. Now the zombies gonna eat me.
No. Scientifically engineered monsters. The term zombie was trademarked by Marvel at the time, okay?
Oh, well, excuse me there now. I stand corrected.
Oh, yes, golden memories. Look, I don't care, okay? All I know is that some bimbo from some company called Frynet come in and told me that they was going to give me money if I put those cabinets in my store.
Frynet, huh? Sounds familiar.
I'm pretty sure that they drive around the city frying up funnel cakes for people that don't know any better. I think we may have to slit their tires, Simon. They are competition, and they undercutting our profits, boy.
Yes, thank you, finally. You know, it's about time that you started playing by the rules.
Guys, I don't care. Look, did you say you had a commercial or something for me to run?
Oh, yeah, I got it right here in my pocket.
Well, then give it here.
But the postman made it.
Here, let's just run it. We'll just run it right now.
Oh, here you go. Here.
Are you kidding me?
What?
This is a freaking cassette tape.
What did you want with it, guy? A freaking laser disc? Because those are a little too expensive right now, okay?
Is it too much to ask for a flipping MP3?
What is that, like a new 8-track or something?
No, I think that's the new project that Betamax is working on.
You know, let's just play it. Let's just put it in. Here we go.
No, you're not saying it right. Here we go. You gotta say it like that.
Just put it in.
Okay, here we go.
Wait a minute, just slow down. We've been running with the underground. Operations fit the greenback way. Ships going down to fight the elevate day. Little birdie told me to comply. Got put out, told us all alive. 40 parts to the left and the right. Narrow path gonna lead us to the with vernacular, my mouth has a 3% real smell.
Simon,
Yeah.
what the frick was that?
Oh,
It was a fucking assault.
That was
That's
not
what
a
it was.
commercial.
it was good, though.
I thought you said there was going to be a concert
Well,
that you had a commercial for me.
yeah, well, a lot. But it was a good song, though, right?
Oh, yeah, it was a really good song. I really liked that song. I liked the part where Beef Wild played the guitar and Snaps, he played
I don't
really
care.
good too. And Ben Tramer, he played the synthesizers.
I
like
don't care.
And did, you know what else? Speaking of Ben Tramer, he's going to be at the concert at 612 Wolf Avenue too. He's going to be playing the solo set, boy, along with Muscle Lee's Playground.
Look, I don't care. Look, who is this Ben Tramer? You guys keep talking about. Is he even real? I've never seen him. Is the guy even real?
Oh, yeah, he's real. He's a real ladies' man. Am I right? Seriously, he's just as real as I am.
Well, I'm going to tell you one thing. I'm the Booty-Gummy-like guy and the Rizzler, and there is no way that he gets as many women as I get.
You know what? I don't care. Simon, I don't ever want you to waste my time like that ever again. You
What?
understand?
No, I don't understand. That was a good song. What's not to like about it? It was about Disney being woke or something like that. I don't know. Freddie Krueger's freaking out over it.
Yeah, and if you feel that bad about it, imagine how bad that Jason Voorhees feels.
Oh, my gosh. I think you forgot Pleatherface.
Oh, don't even get me started on that guy. He's the worst.
Oh, well, stay tuned, because he's going to be in the sequel. Right now, the drink cup's a little bit touchy about him.
Simon, it was sarcasm. Now, will you please just let me do the show?
Oh, yeah. Well, whatever you say, other guy. Hey, other guy, what'd you think about the rapping in that song? I mean, it was pretty good, if I do say so myself. I mean, whoever come up with that was probably a genius.
Yeah, that's where Spicy Spice and the Spice Boys got their swag from. They took that off Simon.
Yeah, they probably gonna have to pay me royalties in the future. It is what it is, you know. Nothing big.
Why do you keep talking like that? Are you hanging around a bunch of 12-year-olds?
I mean, I don't know. I can't really count.
I counted the
Look,
20.
You got to stop doing
Yeah,
that.
20.
That is creepy, okay? You're like, what, 65 or something?
Are you down for something he just said he can't count, little guy?
You're old, man. You're older than I am. That is creepy with a capital C.
Yeah, well, I
Okay.
got news for you. I can't spell either.
Get out. I got a show to do. You're annoying the crap out of me.
What is that infernal crap?
I don't know, it says, wait a second. I know that song. That's
Guys,
Hang on, wait. I got one
Get
more
out,
thing
get
that okay. I better go.
Welcome to the Thunderdome, dudes and dudettes. I'm your host,
Other guy.
the guy with the name that doesn't matter.
Other guy.
What?
Hey, I just wanted to come on when you start. Have you started the show yet?
Well, I'm trying.
Okay, listen, I just wanted to come on. You think maybe we could edit in like a part where I come on and I explain about the Rizzler?
I don't think there's anything going to be edited in. Probably a lot of things are going to be edited out.
What?
Okay? I just kicked you off. What?
So?
Look, I'm on air right now, okay?
Oh. Cowabunga, dude, that's Rob here.
Oh,
And I just wanted to tell you about something that...
You're not Rob.
Yeah, what are you talking about? I'm Rob.
Yeah, and I'm the other guy.
Rob. Listen, my voice, it's deep.
And I'm the other guy. My voice
I
is
just
high.
wanted to tell all you swanky cats out there listening in town that the Rizzler stopped by today,
That's right.
a.k.a. Spice King. He's the
Yeah.
Rizzler because
And Beef Wild.
he's getting a candy deal. It's going to be eating the Rizzlers. They're like a little gelatin candy. They're pretty good. Look for them on shelves today.
Hang on a second. I thought that the Rizzler was one of the bad guys from the Bad Man's Rope Gallery.
Well, I mean, that too, of course, you know. But, we were really going for the candy deal on this one.
Hang on, wait. I thought they were called a roast gallery because they all got together and they roasted each other. You know, like they did with that one guy on Comedy Central.
So you're here too, huh? I just kicked y'all out. You could have just stayed
What
out.
are you talking about? Of course I'm on here. I'm that one guy. You know, the one that you get on the podcast with. You know, the other one. Not Rob, but the other one, you know. You make him watch the Turtle Christmas every year. Hey, everybody, it's me. That one guy.
Gotta get a gift from Master Speaker.
Goodbye. Out.
Well,
Get-
this guy here
go.
and the floor's dirty and I don't want to roll out of here.
Get out.
You're still going to play the song, right?
Probably not, no. Something's stuck in the door. Just leave it open. Note to self. Have the editor take that crap out. Cowabunga, dudes and dudettes, and welcome to another episode of It's Just a Regular Show About the Regular Show. I'm your host, Kirkland, the guy with the weird first name and last name. That's okay, though. Today we're here to talk about Season 2, Episode 11 of the regular show, entitled Bye Bye Benson, or Benson Be Gone, or something like that. I'm not quite sure. I just know that it has something to do with Benson going bye-bye. Before we get into that, I want to discuss a couple things that have been going on in the world around me today as far as media goes, to give you a contextual snapshot of what's going on right now, because I'm probably going to skip that for the show, because there's not much going on at the time of the show's airing. So today is November 4th, 2023. You're probably going to be hearing this months later. That's okay. I remember talking last episode about a few things, and I think the remake of Star Ocean Second Story was one of those things. So Star Ocean Second Story R actually came out not long ago, and I have not played it. I haven't played a game since Final Fantasy VII Remake. However, I have looked at some gameplay footage from Star Ocean Second Story R and watched some reviews on it, and to be honest with you, it looks fantastic. It did not receive the same remake treatment, I should say the same treatment as Final Fantasy VII did. What it did do is it changed the camera angles. In the original Second Story, the towns are almost like they were layered. You know, you'd have a still image, and then you'd have maybe some images of some trees in the foreground that your character would run under, your sprites would run around, whatever. It was very much almost like a really clean-looking 16-bit, I don't know what a bit is, but 16-bit look to it. Like a really, well, kind of like Star Ocean. The original Star Ocean was on the Super Nintendo, or actually just the Super Famicom, because it didn't get an English patch until later. So it never got actually an English release on the original Super Nintendo, I don't think. But anyway, the Second Story almost looked like a very polished version of that on PlayStation 1. Well, now the camera angle actually follows you around the town, and everything just looks really clean. The world map looks really, really nice. The battle system, the reviews I watched said that the battle system is a lot tighter and a lot more responsive, and you can kind of just tell that by looking at it. The original game, there almost seemed like a little lag between when you press the X button to choose to like attack an enemy and when they would actually attack. You can just kind of tell by looking at it that it's a lot snappier. There was an ability, I think, called like run around or something like that, where when you would press X, your main character, I think his name's Claude, he would run around behind the enemy and attack him in the back. Well, the animation for that looks a lot more fluent, a lot quicker, I guess. You can just tell you've got a lot of just little improvements all around. And they also said there's some quality of life improvements. I think maybe fast travel was put in or something that wasn't in the original game. The music, from what they played on the reviews that I watched, is just as good as it always was, if not better. And a really cool feature seems to be that you can have the original voice cast from the PS1 game, or the voice cast from the PSP game, or that voice cast from the PSP game also came back and revoiced again for this release. So you can choose between those three. That's really, really cool, in my opinion. And I'm trying to think if there's anything I left out here. No, I guess overall, if I had money to spend on games, out of all the ones I'm going to talk about another one here in a second, but that's the one I would spend my money on, to be honest with you, because that was such a great game. I remember having so many hours that I just sunk into that game, partially because the difficulty curve just ramps up really, really high. Once you get Leon in the party, you go to these ruins and you got to fight these monsters that have like a thunder attack or something, kind of similar to Secret of Mana, whatever it's called. That game gets a really, really, the difficulty curve just spikes up exponentially at a particular point in the game. And if you don't really know the mechanics of the game, you can't get through it. The Star Ocean, or at least without a crap ton of grinding. Let's see, the next game in the series, Star Ocean Till the End of Time, you could get to that whole game just by linking the side chain attack together. I beat every single boss except for the final secret boss by just linking the simplest, like, secondary attack together. And you could link together these combos and you just spam it, and it's so overpowered. But this game, you couldn't do that. And I remember spending so many hours playing this game. Probably the quality of life improvements are going to make things go a lot faster for players. But I remember thinking that when I played it, that was the first time, well, probably not the first time. The first time I ever felt a feeling of a game just being huge and expansive probably was Final Fantasy VII. That was the first time I'd ever seen like an overworld map. So I thought, man, this game's huge. But the second story is, in the beginning parts, it is kind of linear like Final Fantasy VII is, but you don't have that feeling at all. Like, this is the first game that I played. Remember thinking, man, this game really is humongous. And it wasn't necessarily just because of the world map. It was because of all the crafting and other things you could do. There was just so much going. Like, your characters have these skills, like they can become musicians, writers, and all these things, and you practice them, and you can craft new items. And like, it was just a whole nother world to delve into that it's like I could never do all this. So yeah, great game though. Fantastic. I mean, it looked great before, but it looks even better now. And I think I'm thinking on the PS1 release, there was like 92 different endings you could get. And they were all just like different, I don't know, permutations of so many primary endings with just different details here and there. But I don't know if they've added more onto it though. But I mean, I'm at a loss for words. Like, it was just, it had so much going on at the time. I think if you've never played the Star Ocean series, it's probably the best game in the series, in my opinion. That's just my opinion, though. Till the End of Time was great until you get to like midway, and it's kind of like they pull a Kojima on you, kind of. They start to troll you a little bit in the middle of the game. But yeah, I'll get off that topic. Speaking of Kojima, the Metal Gear Solid collection, Volume 1, it came out a few days ago, and I'm seeing that a lot on Facebook. Yes, I'm old. I have Facebook. And, I mean, Metal Gear Solid's great. It's one of my favorite series of all time. I love the voice actors. Cam Clark, Leonardo, come on, you kidding me? Leonardo is Liquid Snake. My goodness. David Hayter, the Guyver from Guyver 2, he's Solid Snake. I mean, fantastic. Revolver Ocelot, what's his name? Shalashashka or whatever. We call him in Metal Gear Solid 2. Yeah, all those guys. I love the voice acting. I mean, everything about Metal Gear Solid. Some parts of it are cheesy as all get out. I love it though. It's just, it's great storytelling. I shouldn't even say storytelling. I love the stories, but like, the games themselves are like commentaries on society or commentaries on Kojima's time with Konami. Like, The Phantom Pain, in my opinion, it's a great game. It's an incomplete game, but I mean, the gameplay is great. The metacognitive or the meta commentary portion of the game, like the symbolism in the game and the meaning behind the Phantom Pain, there's a lot of deep dive videos out there. It's really interesting. Like, there's theories out there that Kojima has a whole nother part that wasn't released that's actually like pretty much made, and he was planning on releasing it so many years afterward because that coincides with the amount of years that Snake was in the hospital. But I mean, there's just all kinds of crazy stuff out there. And it coincides with the book Moby Dick and Herman Melville references because there's a whale at the beginning and a hallucination. I mean, there's all kinds of crazy stuff in there. But the story of it though is not really in my opinion, it just doesn't feel like a Metal Gear Solid game. I do love the game, but I don't know. It's kind of off-putting. But I mean, the collection it sounds great, even though, I mean, I don't think they've really done much to spruce it up. I think they just basically re-released the games. It's like just a collection of games. Honestly, though, I won't buy it because Kojima's no longer with Konami. And yeah, if he's not involved with it, I kind of don't want anything to do with it, quite frankly. I love the games. Snake Eater Delta, whatever that is, the new remake, it looks like it's going to be awesome. And David Hayter's teasing that, this is just the beginning, or that somebody's teasing, it says David Hayter is Solid Snake. This is just the beginning, such and such on these posts. I think that's going to be awesome, but I'm really, really hoping Kojima's part of it. That's pretty much all I got to say on the matter. A lot of you are probably like, hey, old guy, I don't care about Metal Gear Solid. I don't care about your Star Oceans or none of that. Okay, fine, whatever. Couple other things. The Goosebumps series. I don't know if I've mentioned that, but there's a Goosebumps series on Hulu, and I'm through episode 7 right now. And I can give it a thumbs up. It's worth watching. It's got me invested in it. So it's got me coming back every week, every Friday, watching the new episode. And it's not like it's some masterpiece, but it's a very easy watch and it's easy to get through. And there are some parts in it that I don't care for. And I'm sure there will be a lot of parts that other people don't care for. But a lot of the stuff is overlookable in relation to a lot of the other stuff that's being put out today. The stories themselves are kind of a reimagining of the original Goosebump books. I don't want to give away too much, but they don't strictly follow the books. I mean, it's not like an anthology series. There's an overarching story with main characters in it and whatnot. The one thing I will say is I think that don't remember his name, but I'm pretty sure he's the guy from the I'm a Dell, I'm a Mac commercials, the old computer commercials. Or I'm a PC, I'm a Mac, I don't know. From the Mac commercials. I think he plays a guy named Mr. Brat. I think he does a great job in this series. He's a fantastic job, quite honestly. He's probably the biggest reason I watch the show. The rest of the cast, none of the actors, I mean, I think all the actors actually do a pretty good job. He's really the standout star of the show, at least at this point, in my opinion. And yeah, the stories, I don't want to say it's super predictable because it's not. I mean, up to this point, like I said, it's just an easy watch. It's easy to get through. I don't have a whole lot of gripes from it, and it's enjoyable. That's pretty much what I'm into at this point. I'm not looking to be, emotionally moved by the Goosebumps series. So if I am, that's a bonus. If not, whatever. I'm going to watch it through to the finish. And yeah, if you got some time to spend, 30, 40 minutes every week, or, you're looking for something like that, cool. Give it a watch. Speaking of watching, let's go ahead and dive into the episode that we are watching this week, Benson Be Gone. So Benson Be Gone is the 11th episode of Season 2. It aired in the U.S. February 28th, 2011. Production code 211, by the way. It premiered September 7th, 2011 in the UK. It's directed by Mike Roth. Written and storyboarded by John Infantino. And it's guest starring April Stewart. And this is the first time that I've mentioned April Stewart on the show. She is actually most popularly known for her roles on the South Park series. Now, I don't watch a whole lot of South Park. And by a whole lot, I mean pretty much any. I've seen very few episodes. But, yeah, obviously a popular series. And you can probably, I guess you probably couldn't guess what character she's going to voice. But she is going to voice the character of Susan on this episode. And we'll find out how Susan is kind of like Karen before Karens were a thing. So yeah, all right, the voices of this show, we've got Mordecai and High Five's Ghost being voiced by J.G. Quintel. And this is probably not the first time that High Five Ghost, it's not the first time High Five Ghost has been voiced. Maybe this would be the first time they have like the reverb type effects that they put for, the High Five's Ghost that we most commonly know in the regular show at this point. I'm not sure if this is the debut of that or not. Rigby is William Salyers. Pops, Benson, and Muscle Man. Sam Marin, like always. Skips is Mark Hamill. Mr. Maylard is David Ogden Steers. Leon, Spike Spiegel himself, Steve Bloom, and Susan is April Stewart, as previously stated. So the synopsis of this episode: Benson gets demoted to park worker and starts slacking off with Mordecai and Rigby. Meanwhile, Susan takes Benson's place as park manager, slowly transforming the park workers into clones of her. So, I guess I'll mention the little pop culture references that I see as we go along. Let's see. Early on, one of these things, the trivia connections down here at the bottom, early on, pretty much the main beginning of the episode, you're going to be on the lookout. Mr. Maylard is complaining to Benson of snacks disappearing from the snack bar, which is, and holes in the wall, okay, and $500 worth of prank phone calls. Those are all references to previous episodes, those being Rigby's body. Let's see, the hole in the wall would be the first one, the power, I believe. Well, actually, probably a bunch of episodes. There's probably holes in the wall from Unicorns Gotta Go and maybe Party Pete and a few other episodes. And then the $500 worth of prank phone calls is obviously from prank callers. So there we go. So let's go ahead and start this bad boy up. So the episode starts as, well, pretty much almost as always, with the birds chirping we hear. And then cut to the park. There's a very large white limo parked outside of the house. And we go immediately inside, and Mr. Maylard, who is Pops' father, he's a character with like a moon for his head. He was on a few other episodes. He was on Dizzy. We've talked about that one. Loved that episode. He is complaining to Benson about the things that I just mentioned to you. And one thing I forgot to mention, there's a running gag of him calling Benson the wrong name, kind of implying that Benson's like an underling, an unimportant part of the team. He calls him Bean Teen. First, he says, Bean Teen. And Benson starts, he's like, well, sir, actually, he keeps trying to pin it on Mordecai and Rigby, which, it is their fault. But yeah, we kind of go on with this argument for a minute. I'm sorry, it's not really an argument, like, this, I guess, grilling of Benson. So what happens is eventually Maylard gets Benson to say that everything that happens at the park is Benson's fault because he's the manager. Benson, right when he says everything that happens is my fault, the white limo crashes right through the wall. And this is crazy because they're on the second story of the house. It's never explained how it gets up there, but it knocks a hole in the wall. And of course, it's Mordecai and Rigby driving it. And Mordecai rolls down the window and he says, hey, Benson, you remember how I told you I could drive a stick? Well, I'm a little rusty or something like that. And Maylard's like, he's like, what the crap just happened, basically? And I thought, why are they driving the car that I specifically told you to drive? And Benson's like, well, I delegated it to Mordecai. And then he goes, Rigby. And Rigby, he sticks his head out the window at some point. And he says, I told you should have let me drive. And at the point that Benson kind of realizes he screwed up, Mordecai's like, this is getting a little awkward. I think we're just going to leave. And he starts to back out. And Benson's like, no, wait. And of course, the car falls off the second story and then bashes in the back end of the limo as well. One thing to point out, though, is you can hear the click, at least what it sounds like. He says he drives a stick, but like the click of the car, I mean, there's no like shifting sound. It sounds like an automatic, like the old Ford F-150s. They got the stick up by the steering wheel, and you could just kind of pull on it and get the click. I mean, it sounds like a one-click type thing, like an automatic car would be. So anyway, Benson tries to get them to stop, but they don't, and they back out of the second story of the house. They bash in the back end of the limo, and through the hole in the wall, we see Benson looking really wide-eyed, and Maylard says, okay, emergency meeting tomorrow. That's it. So the meeting that they have is just like all the other park meetings they have. It's on these steps outside of the house, and everybody's gathered there, except this time Benson's sitting on the steps as well. And Maylard steps up, and there's a woman with him. It's Susan, voiced by April Stewart. And he's like, all right, I'll make this quick. I don't want to wait. Everybody, I'm sure you don't want to waste your time. I'll make this quick. And he goes, Bean Can, you're being promoted. And then he calls him Beanton again, like 2 seconds later. So they just I love how they keep this gag up. So Susan takes the floor and she thanks Benson for stepping down as park manager. And this is kind of the rules of three with the writing here. Benson says what when Mailer says he's demoted, and then he says what again after Susan thanks him for stepping down. And then after she gives him his job, he says what yet again. But she assigns Pops and Skips to clean out the northern fountain. She assigns Muscle Man and High Fives Girls to do snack bar duty, and she puts Benson with Mordecai and Rigby to rake up some leaves. The camera kind of closes in on Benson's face, and it does like a fadeaway, like a transition shot where it stays on his face, but the surroundings change. And when we zoom out, he's standing there with Mordecai and Rigby. Mordecai and Rigby are raking some leaves. Benson's just kind of standing there doing nothing, like he's still like zoned out. And they're like, come on, Benson, you got to rake. And he's like, I don't feel like raking right now. He's like, fine. They lay the rakes down. They're like, let's go take a break. And he says, this is so typical of you. Whenever you guys don't feel like doing something, you just quit or something like that. And he says, this is not quitting, or this is not slacking off. That's what it was. You guys just slack off. They said, this is not slacking off. We're just taking a break. And Rigby says something along the lines of, besides, you're raking like an old fat man who's got an older fat man holding his arms down. And then Benson just gets furious. His face gets red. He says, I don't feel like raking leaves right now. But, they do got a point. He's not really raking at all. Like, he's not doing anything. And he's kind of hypocritical of him. This is so like you. Whenever you don't want to do something, you slack off. But he ain't doing crap right now, And then he's like, well, what if Susan comes along? We'll be in trouble then. They're like, look, it'll be fine, dude. We'll just act like we're working until she leaves. And then it's like, right, who would be dumb enough to fall for that? And off screen, they're walking off, by the way, Mordecai and Rigby. But off screen, Rigby says, it always worked on you. And Benson, he finally, he's just like, fine. And he drops the rake. And he starts to walk off to join him. And then we go to like a montage. During this montage, the song that's playing, you can tell it's inspired by More Than a Feeling. Boston, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, More Than a Feeling. The chord progression is very similar. The melody's different, and there's no words. It's something that Sean Seals threw together, I'm sure. One of the cats that worked there. But the first thing they're doing, they're trying to eat cereal, and Benson's watching him from like the living room, and he like just kind of turns shoulder. But in the background, you see another one of those cookie pictures from Pops, and it seems to be a different one. He's just got his hands up in the air, like, who knows, kind of laughing. The next thing they do, they're reading comics, Comix, sitting cross-legged in the park, reading comics. Rigby's book doesn't have any writing on it, but Mordecai's book it looks like a pair of 3D glasses written underneath comics. Rigby tries to offer up Benson a blue comic book, and once again, he crosses his arms and looks away. But the next scene in the montage, they're in the garage playing stick hockey. And this will come into play later, probably towards probably the very last episode of this season, maybe the first episode of next season. It's a key element. Stick hockey is a key element that the episode revolves around. It's probably the first really like big Benson episode. So this comes into play later with character development. And I don't think that was intentional. Either way, it's cool though, because if it wasn't intentional, props to the creators for saying, hey, we used stick hockey in an earlier episode. He liked doing that, so let's put it in this episode. Either way, it's cool. So they're playing stick hockey. Benson wins, okay? The montage isn't over, though, because we go on, and then they are sitting in a fountain, that fountain probably that Pops and Skips just cleaned. They're in 3 black inner tubes floating in the fountain, and I think that this is a reference to Billy Madison. At the beginning, suntan lotion, you're good for me, you protect me, tee-hee-hee, all that jazz. What month is it? Or what day is it? And they're like, October, all that. Well, they're doing something like that. They're sunbathing in the fountain. Then they're eating pizza and playing video games on the couch. Trying to look at it looks like the pictures are nothing new here. Then we see a keep off the grass sign. Okay. And the 3 guys, the 3 amigos there, Mordecai, Rigby, and Benson, are in the golf cart. Benson is driving. He ramps that sucker off a hill, crushes the sign, then does a donut and drives off, a la Muscle Man and High Fives Ghost. Then they're up on the roof and they're shooting water balloons at other park characters, namely Muscle Man. Okay. Then finally, they're drinking a whole cases of blue soda. I don't know what, it's just soda. It says soda on the side, but they're blue cans of soda. So then the montage is over and Benson feels great. And then Mordecai and Rigby's like, so well, Mordecai mainly said, see, I told you all you needed was a break. Now let's get back to work. And he's like, what? I'm not getting back to work. I'm never working again. They're like, no, seriously, we got to get back to work. Susan's coming. She comes out and she's like, why aren't you working? And they're beside the white limo. And Mordecai's like, oh, we were washing Mailer's car. See how we're washing it. And him and Rigby start like, they're just washing the car, rubbing like rags over it and stuff. And I'm like, no, aren't we, Benson? We're washing the car, right? And he's like, I'm not washing it. And she's like, why aren't you washing the car? He says, I've spent every second of something along the lines. I've spent every second of the past so many years working. I'm not working another second. And she says, get back to work or I'll fire you. And he says, well, do it then. And she says, all right, Benson. And she says, you're fired. And he pulls out the whole Mordecai and Rigby. He does it so long though. It's great. Like he walks around. He's got his hand up in the air, and he's like walking around in a circle, doing the whole hand circle up in the air thing with one hand to his mouth, yelling out. And I about said William Salyers. Sam Marin's voice cracks though. It's so long, like it cracks in the middle. It's pretty good, and they just chose to leave that in there. I like that. But yeah, I about said William Salyers though, because I guess early on, and I'm thinking specifically of the episode with Dawn in it. The episode where he comes to save the park from the tax audit. The voice of Benson and Rigby sounded so similar, the characters, when Rigby's like, come on, Benson, it won't be that bad. And he's like, yes, Rigby, it is that bad. They sound so similar in that. So, kind of ironic. I bet you if Sam Marin didn't feel like doing Benson, William Salyers could fill in pretty well. But anyway, Sam Marin is the guy for the job, obviously. But anyway, he does a great job here. So he goes off, and we're about to find out what happens to him here in a second. Actually, I forgot to mention, he tries to get Mordecai and Rigby to leave with him, and they're like, no, man, we need this job. He's like, fine, suit yourself. I'm going to live my life. Well, when he leaves, Susan's like, all right, she gets, it's not all the park members. It's actually just, she tells Mordecai and Rigby to work faster. And then she's like, she points at Skip. She says, you there, sweep faster. You there with the big head. And it's Pops. Wipe down the windows faster. And she just keeps going faster, faster, faster. And they're like painting walls, and Skips is carrying a bookcase. And it's just Mordecai, Rigby, Pops, and Skips. Like there's no muscle man or high five Skips. I don't know what they're doing, but they found a way to get out of work. And eventually the camera comes back to Rigby and Mordecai cleaning off the golf cart. They're wiping it down with two hands, And Rigby's like, I don't want to work for Susan. And then camera cuts to Mordecai, and he says, I don't either, but he's got blonde hair like Susan's got. And the camera does like kind of like a little stinger. And Rigby's like, Mordecai? And then the camera wipes to Benson sitting in the park on a bench. And he's like, this is the life. Jobless, not a care in the world. And then a paper floats by. He's like, almost like that piece of trash. And he goes on this big, long speech about how he doesn't have a care in the world. And you hear a guy say, I know what you're feeling, brother. And he looks over, and the character of Leon, he's basically, I don't know if I'd call him a homeless guy or not. He's like a bald-headed dude with a beard. He might be living under the bridge. I don't know. He's got a jogger on, like a gray hoodie, I guess. And he goes on, my name's Leon. People call me Yoop. That's short for Utopia, because I'm living the dream. And he's got like a sandwich. He's eating it, and he's explaining. And Vincent's like, how do you know all this about me? He's like, because I used to be the park manager too. And he goes on this whole long speech, and it's funny to listen to once, but at the same time, this character is kind of polarizing for the series. Not many people like him, probably myself included, simply because this episode is the last we ever see of Leon, to my knowledge. Steve Bloom does a great job voicing him and everything. It's just like the character just kind of gets written off after this. But it's funny for one episode. His character honestly does feel a little out of place, as does Susan in this episode. I guess I was going to have to mention that eventually, but both characters kind of feel, I don't know, they don't feel as streamlined as other characters do. But, it is what it is. So apparently Leon's speech puts Benson so far off that he's like, crap, I don't want anything to do with this. Oh, I forgot. One of the things he says, he's like, yeah, what's a job going to do? Get you money to buy things? And I did love that part of his speech. And they said something about the grease on his forehead, but Benson's like terrorized by it, and he starts running. He's like, I got to get my job back. He runs into the house, and Susan's sitting at the couch, and he's like, Susan, I got to talk to you. But oh, crap. They turn around, and it's not Susan. It's Mordecai and Rigby. They look like Susan, but they've got like a beak and a raccoon's nose. And he's like, what the crap happened? And they're like, we're turning into her. And basically, the short of it is that the more they get bossed by her, the more they do what she says, the more they turn into her. And he's like, well, stop doing what she tells you to do. And they said, we can't. Well, why? Because she's standing right behind you. And, they turn around. There's Susan. And he's like, this is not how you manage a park. And she says, what would you know about managing a park? And he says, I'll tell you what I know about managing a park. And he says, Mordecai and Rigby, start playing video games. And he sits them down on the couch and hands them the controller. And this is kind of where the episode, it kind of loses it for me. Because I can deal with them. In fact, I love them driving a limo through the top floor of a house. But this is like, why the crap would they listen to him? He's not their boss. And he hasn't been like really validated in this series yet. He hasn't had any character development. He's not the Benson that I enjoy at the end of the series. I mean, he hasn't shown that he's a great boss yet. He's just their boss that gets mad. So it's like, why the crap would they listen to him? But they do. Okay. And they are playing Broken Bones on the home console, their Sega Master System, whatever crap. That came out of the arcades pretty quickly. But yeah, it's recycled footage of Broken Bones. And he's like, no, eat pizza while you're playing it. And like they start turning back into regular Mordecai and Rigby. Mordecai's hands turn blue, and eventually they just turn into themselves. For a few seconds, it's just Benson and Susan on either side of the couch, and Susan's yelling, get back to work. And Benson's like, no, you don't. Keep slacking. And like they're kind of like coaching them from the sides. But then the rest of the park starts to come downstairs, and they all look like Susan. And it's kind of funny, but kind of disturbing. The really funny one is Pops, just because of the mustache. But Skip's high fives looks actually like one of those, I don't know what you call them, like the comedy tragedy masks that people would used to like. Sometimes they'd collect and put them on the walls, or they would use in plays back in the day. Just a big smile or a big frown. It's kind of creepy. But let's see. Muscle Man, High Fives, Ghosts, and Skips, I think that this is a reference. I couldn't find validation of this anywhere, but I think this is a reference to an old Twilight Zone episode called Eye of the Beholder. Season 2, Episode 6 of Twilight Zone. It aired in 1960, November 11th, which is, hang on a second. When did this air? No, this aired February. I'm sorry. I'm recording this in November. I'm sorry. Yeah, but it aired November 11th. Got a 9.1 out of 10 on IMDb. So, it's a pretty good episode. But yeah, I think this is, I'm not going to give away the episode. I recommend you go watch it because most episodes of that show are pretty good. But some of the faces on this, I mean, once you see that episode, I don't think you can unsee it. I'm almost certain, quite honestly, that this is a callback. Not a callback, but an homage to that episode. Like it looks so similar. So anyway, yeah, it's pretty creepy imagery. They're all standing behind Susan. And for a minute, they're all like being Susan's. Well, not all of them, but Pops just says, clean up this mess or you're fired, And Benson says, why don't you clean it up? And then for some reason, that starts to transform them back. High Fives starts growing a hand out of his head. And Muscle Man, his hair starts growing back. And then Benson starts egging him on. He's like, start slacking off or you're fired. So the very next thing is we see Muscle Man without his shirt on. He's got the Susan, the bun. He's still got the hair on his head, but he's doing the helicopter with his shirt around his head, woo, screaming. And the next part kind of gets me. Skips. He walks over to the corner and he crouches down and he starts playing solitaire. That's how he slacks off. I love it. And he's so big regularly. When he transforms, he busts through the suit. So it becomes a war of trying to get the guys to slack off or to, diligently work, I guess. It turns out to be a really short, battle, so to speak. I mean, basically 2 seconds later, Muscle Man's like, we did it. They all start celebrating. And then the camera goes to Susan and her mouth opens. She starts roaring. And quite frankly, this next scene, it got me the first time I watched it. I just didn't expect it. her neck starts twisting and like she has fangs, and then her head doesn't spin around like I guess off The Exorcist, but she like levitates and her head stays in place, but her body twists around. And then she flies out the window and it's crazy looking. And she goes outside and a giant hand comes out of the ground and grabs her and comes up out of the ground, and it's a giant Susan. So I don't know if this is like a Megazord type thing. I think this is a reference to The Exorcist. And I was reading, and I have seen 2 a.m. in the p.m., but only once. And this is saying on the fandom page that this is a reference to that episode. That, for those of you who don't know, it's one of the first 2 shorts. It's kind of like a precursor to the regular show. It's about, let's see, Mordecai and, well, he wasn't known as Mordecai at the time, but a blue jay and a gumball machine working at a gas station. And I guess basically they go on like a drug-induced trips, I guess. And the other one would be, I think, The King of Lollyland. It's more about like the origins of Pop. Well, not even really origins, but it's like a Pops before Pops type thing. Pops didn't actually end up being that character, but kind of similar personality at least. And here it says the giant Susan attacking the park is a similar reference to the giant Barbara Streisand attacking the citizens of South Park in the South Park episode Mecha Streisand. So I guess that makes sense, being April Stewart's on the show. And now that I think about it, I may have mentioned, the first time I mentioned Susan, I may have called her April. Sorry. Anyway, whatever. So yeah, the next thing that happens is this giant Susan comes out of the ground roaring, and she's like red face. Well, basically, her whole being is like a tint of red. So she eats the smaller Susan, starts roaring, and the roar is very reminiscent of like a Godzilla type roar. She goes over to the house and she's like, "Get back to work, you're fired." And Benson, they go through the whole "don't listen to her" thing again. And then Mailer shows up and he's like, "Susan, what are you doing? This is not how you run a business." And she says, "You don't know how to run a business, old man." And then she picks him up like she's going to eat him. And he's like, Beanton, help me." And he's like, "I can't help you until you give me my old job back." And he goes, "Fine, yes, you got your job back." And then Benson goes, "And your car keys." And he goes, "What?" And he goes, oh, yes, of course, my car keys." And he throws him the car keys. Benson gets in the limo, and I guess Susan's just standing still this whole time. But Benson drives down the road, and he does a U-turn. And he has enough time, apparently, to get out of the car and say, "Hey, Susan, you're fired." And then he gets in, and yeah, I guess here it shows the car isn't automatic. It actually shows him shifting it. Okay. I'd forgotten about that. And so I was wrong. The little stick wasn't up by the steering wheel. It was down there where stick shift would be. It's just automatic. Anyway, he starts driving at the giant Susan, and then earlier Susan stepped on a golf cart and crushed it when she became big. Sorry. So the golf cart should be gone, but I guess they're parked, so they got more than one. But anyway, while Benson's driving in the limo, the golf cart is being driven. Another golf cart's being driven by Leon. It drives up beside him, and he jumps in the side door, and he's like, "Hey, Benson." And he's like, "Leon, what are you doing here?" And he's like, "You got a whole life of slacking ahead of you. I've had my time in the sun." And Benson's like, "Well, actually, I decided that I was going to en route." And he says that. Leon grabs him and like throws him out the driver's door, and he takes over steering. And the more I think about it, I actually kind of do like this Leon character. Just this moment right here is kind of funny. He's just driving, and then he rolls the car, and it rolls through, and it knocks out the heels out from Susan's feet because she's wearing high heels. It breaks them, the stilettos, or they're not really stilettos, but it breaks the heels, and she falls over, and the car's still rolling, and the camera cuts to Leon, and he goes, "Utopia," and then he hits a wall, and it blows up. So it's kind of like his kamikaze mission to take her sacrifice to take out Susan. And she falls, like a tower for whatever reason. I guess backwards. I guess she couldn't stand on her tiptoes. I don't know. But yeah, she falls over backwards. In fact, Susan falls back into the hole from whence she came. Flames shoot out of the hole. The sky is not red any longer. It's no longer red. So all the surrealism's over. That started. It ended pretty much as soon as it came. But they all run up to the hole, and they're like, "Yeah, great job, Benson. You did it. And he's like, yeah. Anyway, clean up this mess, you're fired." That's pretty much it. And like everybody walks off, and he goes, "And that means you, Mordecai and Rigby." And he hands Rigby a shovel and Mordecai a broom. And this is like a giant crater in the earth we're talking about. It's like, what is he going to do with a broom? And I don't even know what Rigby would do with a shovel, but I mean, at least it scoops up dirt. And he's like, "And you better not be slacking. because if I catch you, you're fired. Or like, haha, yeah, great to have you back, Benson. Benson drives off in yet another golf cart. And right after he leaves, Mordecai says, "Want to play video games?" Ruby goes, yeah. And Benson's watching him in his rearview mirror as they're walking inside. He says, it's good to be back. And that's how the show ends. So, honestly, the first time, well, not the first time, but this last time that I watched it before this right here, when I was reviewing it for the show, I didn't really like this episode. Like, I thought, man, I don't like Leon. I definitely don't like Susan. This is just, it's not bad. It's just, I will put it this way. This is probably the worst of the Benson-centered episodes, in my opinion. I can't quite think of any that's worse. This is probably the first Benson character development episode. So it is kind of the weakest. But this viewing that I just did is, I had a better time watching it this time than I did the last time. I kind of like the character of Leon, honestly. At first I didn't, but just that scene with him rolling the limo was, I don't know. Maybe it's one of the things you got to be in the mood to watch it. I still don't care for Susan. I don't think she's a great bad guy, antagonist, whatever you want to call her. And I don't think this episode did a whole lot to develop Benson's character, because they have much stronger ones later on. But, this one's not nearly as bad as I thought it was. And quite honestly, this is probably like out of a 10. I was ready to give this one probably a 3.5 or a 4. This one's kind of, at first I thought, well, this one's kind of right up there with, right down there, I guess, with Meet Your Maker, something like that. But this second viewing, no, it actually has some worthwhile elements to it. And if anything's referencing Twilight Zone, I got to give it extra points for that. I just have to. So yeah, this one definitely has some redeeming elements to it. I just wish that it's kind of crappy because they have 2 throwaway characters. I don't know if Susan returns in what's the Exit 4B or whatever it's called. There's an episode that was originally supposed to be the finale of regular show, but it ended up just being not the finale, like season 4. It comes along. I don't know if she comes back in that episode or not, but she just seemed like a throwaway character. Anybody could have been Susan at that point. And hang on a second, I'm thinking like Benson dates somebody named Susan later on, so I'm not sure how that. I don't know, but whatever. I would probably give this one probably a 4.5 or a 5. It's not as good as the ones I've reviewed the past few weeks. It's worth watching one time. It's nothing to write home about, though. It's probably, in my opinion, it's one of the weaker episodes of regular show, but it still has a few like little gems of jokes in there. If you are right in the middle of like a binging marathon watching the regular show, this one's not really going to stick out. But if you were just to watch this episode in isolation, it's like, okay, yeah, I can see some humor. Like with the limo, it's like, that's completely ridiculous. That's a total, that just, the whole style of comedy there just, once again, feels like a Simpsons type thing. It's like, how the crap did that limo get up there? Mordecai rolls the window down, kind of like Homer would, just staring straight ahead, like not trying to stick his head out the window or anything. He's like zoned out, so things like that. I did find it humorous that Skips' version of slacking off is playing solitaire in a corner by himself. Just little touches like that. It's kind of funny that Muscle Man and High Five's ghost found a way to get out of working. So the episode's got little things like that, but it's kind of veering off that nice path that we had of real development in the show. This one, while it does provide a little bit of development for Benson, it's not that strong. But it's cool. It's cool because we do at least get the stick hockey portion of Benson's character. So, yeah, anyway, at this point, I'm pretty much rambling. Let's see what the next... this episode, it received 1.868 million views worldwide. So, if this show could get 1.868 million listeners, that'd be something. Of course, it never will, but that's okay. Let's look at some of the goofs. It's never explained how Mordecai actually managed to drive Maynard's limo into Benson's upper story office. Mordecai's excuse for driving Mr. Maynard's limo into the park house is that his ability to drive stick shift is rusty. When Benson is driving the same vehicle later in the episode, we could see the limo is actually an automatic. So yeah, that was mentioned. In some scenes, Susan's suit is brown instead of gray. When Susan transforms into a giant, she is seen crushing a golf cart. Okay, yeah, this was mentioned. But at the end of the episode, Benson is seen driving it, and Leon is also seen driving one. And then when Mordecai, Ruby, and Benson are cleaning Mr. Maylor's car, there isn't a pole, but the next scene, there is a pole. I didn't notice that. Alternate versions in Australia, when he originally gets fired, he's to Sayonara Suckers. Suckers was removed in the Australian version. And then what the was changed to what? I guess probably when Benson's saying what at the beginning of the episode. So let's see what's next. But I have a receipt as the next episode, and I can tell you I do enjoy that episode. This is my jam. I also really enjoy that episode. Muscle Woman is one that I don't watch that often. I'll just be honest with you. Some of these Muscle Man episodes kind of gross me out. Some of them are great. But I will watch that one, and I'm sure actually I will find things in that episode that I do enjoy. I'm not saying it's a bad episode. I'm just saying I usually skip them. But most of the stuff, most of the episodes in here in this season 2 are, I think we've got some good ones coming. Grave Sites. I wish that one had fallen on Halloween this year, but I don't think it will. I don't know, because Halloween just passed and I put out Meet Your Maker. So I don't know. I don't know how this is going to turn out, because that's episode 6 of season 1. So I don't know how long it's going to be till we get to even to this episode. But maybe Grave Sites will coincide with Halloween next year or this year that you're listening. I don't know. I don't know when this will come out. Crap. Really Real Wrestling, Over the Top. Was it Nada? There's some good episodes here. So a lot of these, and next season looks good. I'm looking forward to getting these done. Well, I shouldn't say that. I'm looking forward to doing these, I should say, not getting them done. But yeah, we're getting into some of the good stuff now. Some of the classics. Not quite there as far as being in the prime of the show, the golden era, so to speak, but we're getting there, definitely. So yeah, that's all I got. If you all would maybe subscribe or follow or whatever it is that podcasts do, leave a rating, or on Apple Podcasts, if you leave a review, that would really be helpful. And, share, all that jazz, that would all be appreciated. Last I checked, I've got about 8 active listeners, so we're slowly growing one at a time. That's cool. Appreciate you listening. Appreciate you sticking with it this long. Don't know why you'd want to, but I do appreciate it. Shout out Nick Baxter. I know you're still listening. Probably Tara too. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention. I think I've already mentioned once, but if you haven't, let's see. We started doing Turtle Tales again very recently. Rob, myself, and Josh Witt, one of the original Turtle Flakes co-hosts, came on as a guest. Hopefully he'll start coming on more frequently. I don't know if he will or not, but it's pretty fun. Shout out to him. I don't know if he's listening, but whatever. And Mr. Ryan from the Talking Snicked podcast. I do appreciate he is actually on his Discord. He is promoting my show, so I appreciate that a whole lot. If you all enjoy X-Men of any kind, go give his show a listen, because he does the deep dives. He's a pretty knowledgeable guy on the subject. He enjoys it, and his show is it's not like mine in that he is actually professional. He's very professional in what he does. I am not very professional, very improvisational. A lot of times I stumble over my words like I just did. He doesn't do that. So anyway, give his show a listen. It's great. I'm going to try to get the Discord that, I don't know if anybody will be in there, but I'm going to try to get the Discord set up with a page to where he can promote his show on my page. Not that that's really doing him any favors, because he probably has several more listeners than me. But anyway, shout out to him. And shout out to you for listening. Until next time, I appreciate you, and I'm sorry, correction. I appreciate you, as Benson would say. I appreciate you, Mordecai and Rigby. I appreciate you, dear listener. Yeah, that's it. That's the one. Okay. I'll be back in a couple weeks, hopefully, but I have a receipt. And until then, thank you and have a good one.